Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
You're right, Dougie. We did have 4 minutes before the show started, but the software is telling me go live right now. So maybe I put something in wrong. But welcome everybody to our Tuesday Q&A show. This is where we answer questions. The three of us get questions through a variety of places: Instagram, Facebook, email, and we can't always answer them. Like if it's on Instagram, we can't just sit there and type a 3-page answer. A lot of times the answers are very complicated, and they're not just as simple like I can write a paragraph and answer it. It requires graphs and videos and us having discussion. And beyond that, although we look like the three smartest people in Earth, and I don't know, we look like three smart people. We're not. But we also have a lot of people who watch the show who have a lot of smart things to say, and they can help answer questions too. So the idea of this is like, ask us a question, and we're going to do our very best with video and all the tools at hand to answer those questions. Does that sound good, guys?
Yeah, and I said, let's be honest, this is also way more fun than trying to type an answer, just like interacting with the computer. That's painful. Zach, I don't know if you've differentiated on air, but I think it's good to differentiate this show from the Friday show and what you see as the difference between these two shows.
Well, the Friday show is Aaron and Zach's mediocre rafting show, where we actually have an agenda and we have things planned and where we talk about things about rafting. This show is literally just to answer questions. I can't possibly, like, I get tons of emails. Hey, what size oar should I use? Somebody actually called my office yesterday to ask me my opinion of Gilman grips. And I just honestly, like, I have a job. I don't have time to answer the phone and tell people my opinion of Gilman grips. And so the idea where this is actually like a fun hobby, like it's really fun to like, who cares what my opinion of Gilman grips are? What matters is all of our ideas of Gilman grips.
Yeah.
Plus the people who watch the show can add their 2 cents in. Like I personally think Gilman grips are kind of silly, but people watching the show might think they're awesome. And so getting varied opinions, I think, is important. Look, Doug, you have a fan.
What did you? Hi, Courtney. Congratulations. I haven't talked to you.
Congratulations about what, Doug?
Yeah, what?
We got married.
Oh.
Well, like a long time ago.
I haven't talked to her since then.
Oh, Dougie, what are you doing? How come we never talk to you anymore?
I'm healing my back. That's one. Which is getting better. I went snowboarding yesterday.
Oh, sweet.
Well, it's got to be better if you're snowboarding. Yeah.
All right. You didn't think about calling your friend Zach saying, hey, I'm going snowboarding?
I have called you. Well,
my phone must not work.
We've texted a little bit.
Yeah. Do you see this, Aaron?
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. We appreciate it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Members only episode on Zoom. I mean, we don't. It's not on Zoom. We do it through the same platform.
That'd be tricky. I don't know if we. Yeah.
We can't do it through Zoom. We're not going to do a Zoom call, but we can do a YouTube live show just for members.
I think he's one where we can all talk.
Hey, guess what? We have a special guest. Steve is joining us.
Special. Hi.
Hey, Steve. We got the whole team. Aaron said he couldn't make it the other day. And so I'm like, uh-oh, I don't want this just to be me. And so I asked Steve and Dougie, and I got all 4 of us.
Wow.
How exciting is this?
Yeah, this is like we got to start all yelling at each other at the same time to make it like these online sports shows. And may just say a bunch of nonsense. I mean, that's pretty much what our show is, a bunch of nonsense about rafting. But so let's go. Let's find the first topic.
Well, David's asking about the Zoom call where the members could see each other. I don't think. I mean, it sounds fun, but I'm not going to organize that. It's a great idea, David, but man, that sounds like a lot of work.
We don't have the technology yet to do that, do we?
Well, we have Zoom, but maybe someday. You know, hey, I have this idea. Hold on.
Christmas party.
Yeah, your garage Christmas party. I have this idea where we have.
Isn't the members only associated with the YouTube thing though? So how are you going to invite everyone on a Zoom call from YouTube?
David, if you organize it, David, we're in. I just don't want to organize it.
Zach, you just have to invite everybody.
Thanks for throwing us all in there. We are in, guys. We're all in this.
Let's send us a link. We'll be there.
You guys don't have to come, but I'll come. But I have this idea that I want to run by you guys before we get to the show that I just remembered, where we have, because there's so many different people teaching rowing now. And Steve, there's 2 more companies that are about to launch into rowing instruction. I just learned about.
Wow.
But there's so much diversity of opinions and teaching styles. I've been thinking about having like a conference for rowing instructors on Zoom where we all get, and then each of like the main instructors does a presentation on something. And we have like, it'd be cool to do in person for sure. Right. We all go boating, we share ideas, but then have like a conference for a day or two, maybe online, where we share philosophies.
That'd be fun.
Kind of like
that sounds fantastic, particularly if you added something that everyone could watch afterwards. That would be really neat. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Like we do it and then we share the content.
Kind of like on this show, like almost like on this show, but yeah. Or maybe we just invite all of them on the show one by one and we talk with them.
That's fun too. But how cool would that be to get like all the different, because there's all these people who are now like rowing instructor gurus all over the place. And we're probably telling people slightly, we have different opinions and slightly different ideas, and we could learn from each other. How cool would that be to have a
and people could figure out which instructional style works best for what they want too.
Yeah.
So people look at like, oh, I want to go with Doug because he's nice. And
Steve tells me where to go.
Yeah, Steve tells you where to go. Yeah, Aaron just doesn't say anything. He just sits there. So yeah, that's why I want a guy who doesn't tell me anything. Yeah, go with me. So.
You know, Aaron, Steve is going to be really modest here. He's going to try to be modest, but he taught some of our rowing classes, and the feedback from those courses is off the charts.
Oh, not surprised.
As you can imagine, Steve is an amazing rowing instructor.
Yeah. You better watch out. Everyone else is going to come and try to steal them away from you, Zach.
They already are.
Send me the names of those companies that are starting rowing schools, and I'll get back to you, Zach.
Ouch. Ouch. It's gonna hurt. Before we start, Dougie, one more thing. Where are your pronouns, Dougie?
I did not put them in my
Interesting.
name there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I liked yours though. I did notice them a couple days ago. I watched your video and I saw that you had them there. Good job.
Yep. You guys ready for the questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, so do I need to read this, or can everybody just read on their own?
Well,
should I paraphrase?
Let's get down to the actual question.
Length oars. Okay, so we've been through this a million times.
He's buying a fishing Dodger XL with counterbalance cataract oars, as I'll likely be floating a lot of class half in flat water for fly fishing. I don't see a question in here.
What's
I think it's class 1, 2.
Otter. Or maybe there's a page 2 with the question.
Class 1, 2, not class half. Okay.
Here we go. This is it. The frame I'm getting is 60 inches wide and 70 inches long with a rower seat. I'm assuming 4 inches per oar mount, bring the total width. So he knows about the 1.6 number. He gets 9.23 feet for oar length. The additional seat height makes it sense to purchase 9.5 foot oars. Did he say something about a seat being high? Counterbalance. Well, first of all,
counterbalance, yeah.
And avoid.
I don't think you need counterbalance if you're going with the cataracts and they're the right length, right? I mean, then they're just super heavy to carry around, and
well, okay. I have a question for you guys. This guy's obviously into fishing. Should we even answer this question? We're like, aren't we whitewater people? Does the same stuff apply to class 1, 2 fishing?
That's the question I would want to answer. Do you think that your 1.63 applies to any boat on any water, or is it for what we're doing? And then his second question about the height of the seat or the height of the oar is like that throws a whole nother measurement piece into your equation. But I would think that class 1, 2, class 3, 4 is going to be the same oar length.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting in your living room rowing, or you're in class 5 whitewater, you'd want the same dynamics.
So you think? Hold on. You think you want the same oars fishing flat water that you want on Cherry Creek?
Or length.
Or length. Same oar length.
Yeah, no, I disagree there. I would say I'd go shorter on really tight technical, and then open water maybe a little bit longer. Just because you're got so much momentum, you're dropping the blades in behind rocks and stuff like that, having that shorter oar just makes less torque, and you have less of the oar outside, so you've got your mechanical edge versus pushing flat water. At least for me, when I was doing one days on the lower, on the main Tuolumne, I wanted longer oar. My creek oars were terrible. I couldn't keep up with them. But on Cherry Creek, shifting them all the time, those shorter oars with smaller blades were nicer.
Is that because you don't have good oar management and you can't handle long oars on Cherry Creek?
With that, and I'm just not that strong. So when I drop them to an oar into the water behind like a rock, I don't get thrown out of my seat if they're smaller and they're shorter. The mount on the water side of the pin. So go. The higher seat. My question is, why does he want the higher seat? I didn't catch that. That would be my question. Is why are you doing a higher seat?
I'll give my quick thoughts.
Okay, and of course I'm looking at the comments, so you want to check out the comments before you go any further, Zach.
Okay, hey guys, this is the question answer. Oh, got it. Mounted. The seat is a seat-mounted seat, not a dry box. The seat is a mounted seat. Not okay. So it can't be that high.
What's the next page?
Oh, it's a swivel seat. Is it an NRS swivel seat?
So you fishing while rowing? Because I thought usually the person rowing doesn't fish. On my fishing experiences, there's people sitting in front and the back, they're fishing, and the person rowing is just rowing. But if you're doing a lot of flat water, I guess you could do both. The other thing I'd say is, could you just put like a little floor on it so you could stand up and fish from the middle, and then you wouldn't have to worry about the pivot seat, and you could have the seat the right height? That seems nicer to me, but I don't know.
Is it this thing? A swivel seat where he can I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah. I think that's what he's talking about.
Maybe it locks in place and spins around to go in different orientations.
Yeah, I don't like rowing with the seat anyway, so that's a whole other.
But I think he has a bar.
Pretty good if you're pulling.
I think otherwise he just has a bar. Like with those NRS frames, you have to have a seat because there's just a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the question. I'm gonna give my quick thoughts, and then we can decide if we want to keep talking about this. Cataract oars. I'd rather you have Sawyer oars, but whatever. I wouldn't go counterbalanced. Maybe people that fish want counterbalanced. I'm not sure.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. And then you don't want to sit too high, so you want to drop your seat as low as you can. And with that, I think at this point the equation is perfect.
How much extra seat height are you getting? That's the other thing too. You didn't give us the inches for how much extra seat height.
I didn't even know he had additional seat height until he said, "Do you think with the additional seat height?" I mean, I'm gonna say get a 9.23 foot oar, based on the information I have. But if
you'll probably be fine with 9.5s, particularly if you're comfortable overlapping your oars a little bit. If you're comfortable with a little bit of overlap on your oars, then you're definitely the 9.5s would be fine.
And then if they want to get into whitewater too, that 9.5 is a good length.
I agree with all that.
Hold on, you disagree with me, and you're saying you disagree with the 9.23, and you agree with everything. Is that what you just said?
I might have said that. I didn't mean it.
I think that's what you said.
I didn't mean it that way, but I do think that there is so much wiggle room in all of this that 9.23 or 9.25 or 9.5 is just overthinking it. When you row, you are moving your hands inward and outward all the time. You're not rowing in the exact same spot on the oar all the time. I mean, you slide them on the oar locks, unless your pins and clips would be have less flexibility. But
Hold on, Steve, do you row spinnies?
That's another.
Yes, and I don't row. I would doubt that I'm rowing on the same groove of rope on my wrapped oars every time.
Wait, Steve, I've never seen you row spinnies. I thought you were a pins and clips guy.
That's a good point. If he's running spinnies too, the 9.23 is not fine because you can pull them in a little bit to rope higher and have a little less torque, and they can have a little wider for shipping. So the 9.23, I think I'm going Zach. Well, he just said
9.5.
He said he's got 6 extra inches from the seat, 6 inches of height increase. That's a lot.
Wait, so the seat is 6 inches taller?
Yeah, I think so.
I would drop the seat. I would focus on getting that seat lower, whatever it takes.
I agree.
I'm going to say.
Where did you see 6 inches for the seat?
He wrote it in a comment right there. Right there. I'm going to say I'm such a believer in the equation. The equation gives you the best starting point possible. Just go with the equation, 9.23.
Can you even buy 9.23 inch?
Yeah, go
oars?
to not from whoever you got them from. Who did you get them from again?
Cataract.
Not from Cataract, but Sawyer you can get custom. You can just cut them off and put the handle back in. But the equation gives you, I think, the perfect length. right? And then if you want to go a little bit long, go a little bit long. If you want to go a little bit short, go a little bit short. But no, you're going a little bit long, or you're going a little bit short. You're making a conscious choice to do that. Don't make your starting point be 9.5 just because that's all that Cataract sells.
My other suggestion, this is the logical in my mind, is Scott, find some friends with some oars that are in that length and take them out and tool around with them and try them out just to get an idea of how they fit if you do want that higher, or either anyway, before you buy them, like just borrow some, even some old junky ones, and then you can put your hands different spots on the oar and be like, okay, pretend the oar would be this length, it would be this long, particularly if it's a little longer, you can hold in different spots and see, okay, where would I be rowing from? How would they be sitting in the water? So yeah, if you can get access to some oars that are at least that long, it'd be easy to kind of play with that, like some 9.5s. So yeah.
I'll go ahead.
Is it a stern nut? Is that partly why it's 6 inches high?
No, I think it's a fishing frame, like it's a center mount fishing frame.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I'll go look for it. Fishing frames. Steve, when did you learn? When did you start running spinnies?
I've always known how. I always know what they are. But when I worked for you this last summer,
Are you blaming me on it?
all the time? No, I'm not blaming you. I'm giving you credit.
Hey, that guy who worked for you on the Rogue way back when, Steve, did he run
Tony
spinnies?
Campagnoni. The first time I ever rode on the Rogue was with open oarlocks and no stop.
See,
spinnies.
Zach, before we were almost born, he was running open oarlocks.
1978.
Yeah,
I was
we
5
were
years old.
alive,
I
but
was
not
5
very
years old.
big. Yeah.
And being able to slide oars in and out is very, very helpful. I agree. I appreciate that ability.
Wow.
I think it's a big advantage over pins and clips. But I think it makes your oar length argument a little wishy-washier.
I'm gonna go back to this too, Scott, and ask like this. I just don't see the swivel seat helping you that
Hold on.
much.
Do you see this frame I put up here, Aaron?
Yeah.
Do you think he's sitting on that front seat?
No, he's sitting. I think he's sitting on the middle seat, but he wants it to be a swivel. I'm guessing.
He's sitting on the back seat, but he put an adapter that raises it.
Yeah, and if you put an adapter on that too, you're still limited because you spin and you're going to run to those bars, and you can't get that much more angle versus just kind of turning your seat a little bit and fishing up one side, fishing up the other. But I may be wrong.
I think he's sitting on that front seat. That bar is further back. That's why it's 6 inches tall.
That's 6 inches. That looks like
That's more than 6 inches.
That's more than 6 inches. Zach.
Maybe he has a bad tape measure.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll answer here in a second. Wait,
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve.
Got
So
an
wait,
answer.
hold on.
Yes.
Do you run insy outy too? Like, do you run up against a stopper?
No,
Or are you an insy outy person too?
no, the stoppers are just there to keep the oars from sliding
Oh,
through
man,
when you let
you've
go.
been fully indoctrinated.
He's legit. Yes. by the way.
I've known this all along, and rowing a light boat on the Rogue River with spinnies was wonderful. Better than rowing with pins and clips. Rowing a heavy gear boat in other situations, I wanted pins and clips.
Wow.
I'm open-minded. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, we
I
haven't-
didn't know
I do
that.
think if you want to get another 1.63, another number to add to your quiver here, the seat height versus the height of where the oar hits the oar lock.
The seat height
The pivot
versus
point.
okay, yeah.
I think that's that's where I see a lot of people
Yep.
uncomfortable
Agreed.
rowing when their hands are too low, more so than when their hands are too high. Like, I really like my hands high, but I've seen people row where they're rubbing up against their thighs all the time, particularly if you're sitting on a cooler seat. I would love to see oar stands 2 inches higher.
No, oh my gosh, Steve.
That's because you're super buff, man. You're like the Hulk.
Steve.
Yeah,
nothing.
people who are smaller prefer them lower in tight. Yeah.
I would say keep the oar stands where they are. Drop your seat down. Figure out how to get your seat lower.
I
once-
do.
Once
I
the
do.
seat, we played this game a little bit. Once the oar stands get taller, they're also out wider, which
Not
means
necessarily.
They don't have to be out wider, Zach.
They are though. Look at the NRS oar locks. They splay out more.
Yeah, but you don't have to do
You
that.
can
And then
adjust them.
And then the distance. So like DRE makes one that goes straight up, but then the distance from the oar lock down to the water is much larger.
That is longer. That's true.
And so it gets
And the
really
angles
messy
change.
quick.
And the angles change. You lift up you upped a little bit.
Agreed.
live-
I agree.
Yeah.
I know.
yeah,
So
that's true.
the thing I see is people go buy their raft, They get a dry box that's too high. Then they add a seat mount to it and then a seat, and they're sitting up really tall. And then they get oar towers that are really tall, and their oars end up being a foot too short. But they don't know that because they're running like a 14-foot boat and they bought the right oars. But because their geometry, their oars are way too short. And so I'm a fan of like, get that seat, just get the seat down low.
Absolutely. I agree.
8-inch oar towers are the biggest anybody should be using.
Take the 3 Paco pads off of it. Take the 2 inches of foam off of it. Lower it down as low as you can. Get a smaller cooler if you're going to suspend it in there. Agreed. Lower the seat before you raise the oar towers. But at some point you reach if you're using the seats that are in that picture, the back seat, it can't go any lower than that.
That back seat works with 8-inch oar towers. So to get to Scott's thing, the back, if you have that back seat and you have 8-inch, those are the 8-inch NRS oar towers, you're good.
And the equation's designed for that pretty much.
It works. It's not designed for that. It's designed for the frames, the Arda Echo frames. The equation started by measuring all the Arda Echo frames.
What's 8 inches?
It's the size of that oar tower.
That's the height of the pivot point above the tube.
Is that the hypotenuse or is that the y axis?
No. NRS sells a 6-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch oar tower. This is the 8-inch oar tower.
Where are they measuring 8 inches from?
I think it's just like from here to here. That's about 8 inches. It's just like from here to here is probably 8 inches.
Okay.
Oh, you're measuring straight in a line, the hypotenuse, not like the y-axis.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. 6, 8, and 10.
And what I'm saying is never ever buy the 10s.
I would agree.
Like 8 inches, like NRS. The fact that they sell the 10-inch oar towers, it's a disservice to.
What are those steel oarlock stands? Do you think that's what the original?
Those are 8 inches. Those are the same as
8 inches.
Those are the same as these. The oar stands that we use
8 inches
are the same as this one. It's the exact same geometry.
Okay.
Yep. So like the bigger one. So the 10 inchers. Does it say where it measures it?
I found a picture on NRS.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, it is the y-axis. Is it A? Is A the 10 inches?
A from the bottom of the bar,
top of the tube,
to the top. Yeah, that's 8 3/8 inches. So what I'm saying is, from the top of the bar is halfway down the bar is probably 8 inches.
Middle of the bar. Yeah.
From the bottom. I say the bottom of the. You go from the bottom of the actual. Yeah.
But do you see, like, here's the problem is, see the B category? Once you go to the 10-inch oar mounts, your oars are splayed out another 1 3/4 inches. So there's 2 of those. So it actually ends up being 3.5 inches times 1.63.
It's probably bigger than that because you have to angle them out in order to have the right angle.
And that's what people do is they end up like pushing them out like this a little bit to make it work. They're not like this. They're not vertical like this. They start doing this, and they have to add a foot to their oars because of
that's one of the biggest problems with these locks. Though, is I see a lot of people they put them out instead of having them upright like that, so the lock sits straight upright.
Well, do you want the lock upright? You don't want it quite.
Yeah, perfect. I'm convinced, and this is just me. I'm convinced when you put these on your frame, you want this right here parallel to the ground.
Yeah.
That's
what the old school one, the other ones we were looking at, that's how they used to set up, right? They were pretty much straight up and down.
That's what I teach, is you want this right here. Yeah, exactly. Parallel to the ground. If you splay it out, you're doing yourself a disservice.
But then you're also saying that the angle of the oar through the oarlock is not perfectly aligned.
Not when you're pushing.
The oar is going through the oarlock at an angle rather than
when you're pushing or pulling.
What's that?
Yeah. When you're pushing or pulling, yeah.
When you're pushing and pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with.
Zach, what about, I've heard you also say, and this is what I think I went by, was you don't want it to reach outside the edge of the boat, of the rubber, but I splay it out a little bit to get the angle of that oar a little more flat as it hits the water. Not the angle of the oar flat, but the angle.
I think you could. I think that makes sense. I like them the way I said. If you splay them out a little bit, fine, that's not a big deal. Okay. But you wouldn't want it to extend past your boat because if you hit a rock, it'll hit this thing.
Yeah.
The
You wouldn't
further
wanna
you
pass the boat.
splay them, or the wider they are, the lighter your oars become.
Yeah. And the less torque on your body.
Significantly.
Yeah, less torque on your body. Yeah. Yeah.
Significantly.
Wait, say that again, Steve.
If you keep your handles in the same spot and you move those out wider, the locks out wider, like you pivot them this way, he's saying your mechanical advantage is changing. And so it's a
Your
lot
oars
lighter
get
to push
the
them
handles
down.
get lighter.
Your
Because
handles
there's
get lighter
more oars
and
inside.
less, and
Yeah.
you have to do more strokes to move the same distance, but you get torque your body less. If I'm a weaker person like me, I want those out wider so I don't get yanked and thrown around so much. I can keep the oars in the water instead of getting pulled around.
So I think that's a separate discussion. I think you want them as wide as you can. This is just ideal. This is my rule of thumb for this. As wide as you can get them, but not outside the width of the boat. Because then if you hit a rock wall, it smashes. It can hit. I mean, if it goes outside the width of the boat, like it's not the end of the world. But you want to go up against a rock wall, not be scraping your oar lock down the rock wall.
I agree with that. That seems obvious. But
And that has to do.
I disagree.
That doesn't have to do with
It's
splaying
disagreement,
these.
right?
We'll get to your thing. That has nothing to do with splaying these things out. It has to do with the width of your frame.
I totally.
So make your frame wider so these can be vertical. Don't
There's
make your
two ways
frame
you can do.
narrower.
You can splay them out, or you can move your frame wider.
But I don't like splaying these out,
Yeah,
which is
totally
a whole
agree.
separate thing. But whatever.
Now, the bigger problem, though, is you guys talk about having those as wide as possible means for people with shorter arms, it's very difficult to shift the oars properly. So pushing those pins out wider, like Adam on Jerry Creek, he's got the narrowest frame of all of us when we used to work up there. It's really nice for shipping and getting that oar in tight. So and you're more stable if you have to have both oars shipped and both hands out. You're not like doing that. And that's what I find when they get wider and wider is you can't really ship both oars at the same time easily.
and Zach, 1.63 times the frame width.
No, the distance between the oar locks.
Okay,
frame
it's
width.
didn't bring the
Yeah.
oar lock. Okay, because that seems like
I gotta-
that's the far
I
more.
gotta go.
All right.
Bye,
Later,
guys.
Aaron.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
God, finally it's just us. He was driving me crazy.
Because the wider they go, if you splay them out, you wouldn't matter how wide your frame was.
Yeah, but I
You
would.
adjust the width of your frame by moving your oar towers in or out, bending them in or out.
I just don't like them
Playing.
bent out
I agree.
personally because they get weird forces on them, and I'm not a fan. But you could do that. But Aaron's point is a very astute one.
Yeah.
So like if we're running the Grand Canyon or the Rogue, and we're just doing multi-day trips and you're not doing a lot of shipping, I think you want them pretty far out. But because on like the Grand Canyon, you're rarely shipping both oars. So you're shipping one oar and you can lean and handle it. But if you're doing like Cherry Creek, gear boats on the T at 1,000, then you might want them in a little bit so you can properly do a double ship. So that's a reason why I'm my oar locks in a little bit so I can double ship depending on my oar length. Mark Rivers, this is Mark Rivers, PT, comma DPT, badass. That's his full name. Make a deck for the back instead of a swivel seat. Gives you standing platform for casting. Interesting, Mark. Mark must not have fished too. All right, you guys want to get to the next question?
Yeah.
All right, I think we answered that one pretty well. That was like a 25-minute answer, so hopefully we did a good job. All right, hi again. Have you floated a little Chetco? I have not. So did you guys know that you guys know about the Chetco? It's like this river by the Illinois. The Little Chetco is a tributary, and if you look at a map, you're like, oh, we could hike down to the Little Chetco and save ourselves like a mile and a half, and float the Little Chetco down. And that's what he's asking here. I think maybe too small to float. So some people have floated the Little Chetco down to the Chetco, but you have to do it at kind of high water. Yeah, you're in pack rafts. So like it depends on the flow. If you go, I'm just guessing at like 1,200 CFS on the Chetco, you could probably get pack rafts down the Little Chetco. And please don't. This is just guessing. I'm just totally guessing here. Do your own research. I'm making some of this up. My best guess is at 1,200 on the Chetco, you could probably float little. You could probably get pack rafts down the Little Chetco, but you're gonna have a harder time on the main Chetco because the higher level is going to challenge a pack raft unless you're like a really good pack rafter. So in pack rafts, I'd recommend going in the and make your own decisions. This is just my guessing, having no experience as a pack rafter. I'd go like 600 and 900 on the Chetco, which is probably too low for the little Chetco. Hopefully I answer that question well. So the answer is,
have you seen the Chetco outside?
I've seen it as low as 300 and as high as 1200. And all the ranges in between. Yeah, hopefully I answered that question well enough. All right, here's a map. That's cool. If you know where, if you're good at looking at maps, basically that you're walking that yellow line in, and that blue line is the shortcut down to Little Chetco. And so it cuts off, I don't know, maybe a mile. And then you paddle the Little Chetco down. But it has been done. It definitely has been done. I'm not sure you would, the flow you need for the Little Chetco might be too high to do the main Chetco on a pack raft, depending on how badass you are. All right, moving on. All right, a new issue, tendinitis. I did quite a number of multi-day trips, some or rafts, some like K. So I talked to a friend. That's similar too. Okay, maybe there's a second page. Oh yeah, I have the tons that I wrapped. Just blown. Feels good. Huh. Have you guys ever had rower's elbow?
No.
I think I've had something similar. I don't know if I'd call it that, but Amy has tennis elbow a bunch right now, and she's trying a bunch of different options. We just got one of those massage guns to try out, and she's using like AT tape, but it's painful.
Yeah, I sort of feel like we shouldn't answer this question because we're not doctors.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Stick to
CFPT
Orwell.
for sure.
Yeah, tendinitis. I would talk to a doctor. And Mark Rivers is a physical therapist.
Yeah, there you go.
Not only is he a physical therapist, he is a doctor of physical therapy. Did I say that right, Mark? So, yeah, Mark, you're probably the right person to give advice here. Do you have any advice, Mark? But no, that's not good. All right, we'll move on. Winter and Mark, if you have advice, leave it in the comment section below, and you can help them out. Do you guys agree? We probably shouldn't answer questions about the doctor should answer.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm looking at coming up to do a kayak camp. I was told the Rogue River in Oregon is good this time of year. Could you possibly be in touch with folks who regular paddle this time of year? Okay. Have you guys done winter rogue trips?
No.
Yep.
Is it a good time to go?
Yeah, it's great. It's cold and gets dark early. Got to bring a good book. Spend a lot of time sitting in your tent. But yeah, it's fun.
I think it's underutilized in the winter. I mean,
I agree.
You can camp anywhere you want. Like, there's nobody else out there. You can camp almost anywhere.
Yeah, and it's one of the few rivers in the West that you could do 365 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, that kind of access is really, really rare. So, yeah, I think it's underrated and underused in the wintertime for sure.
Well, I think that's his email. So if anybody wants to go boating in the winter in the Rogue, contact Tristan. If you're going to boat in Oregon in the winter, where are you guys going to go? What would be your first choice? The Rogue is good. Is there anywhere else you guys would go?
The Illinois, if it's flowing. I mean,
yeah.
The Rogue is a backup. No, like I said, I don't know that there are that many other rivers that have that kind of year-round accessibility.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I don't know how good you are at paddling, but if you're a class 4 or 5 boater, I would prioritize the Illinois. Plan on that. Try to do that, and then if it's not flowing, then do the Rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Doug, were you gonna say something?
The Smith is in that area is good too.
Oh, the Smith is amazing. And that's the way to do it, actually. That's the trip. Do the Rogue and then plan on your shuttle back.
Yeah, that's
3 or 4 or 5 days on the Smith.
Yeah.
And
or the Illinois. Then 3 or 4 or 5 days.
Oh,
on the Smith.
do a Rogue and then come back and do an Illinois and then come back and do a Smith.
Or do the Smith in between. On your show.
Oh yeah. Do the
Wow.
Rogue and drive up and do the Smith on your way to put in for the Illinois,
And then just loop
and
back
then do
to
the Illinois and then fly your private jet home. That's the way to do it. I mean, Dougie and I have done a lot of time on the Smith in the winter. I don't think anything's better. I mean, Illinois is my favorite, but the Smith is amazing. Whether the river is high or low, there's somewhere to go if you just get creative. There's always somewhere to paddle. All right. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, and the waterfalls, usually there's tons of waterfalls in the winter too. You don't see in the summer. So, yeah, I think the Rogue in the winter is an amazing trip. But the whole area gets tons of rain. There's lots to do. Guys, that's our last slide. That's our last question.
Mark added a comment about the injury.
Get the currents and causes the dress and learn how to prevent it. There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Mark, would you go straight to a physical therapist or go to a doctor first? That's the other thing. Oh, there we go. Wait, there's a Facebook. It's called Oregon Kayak and Rafting Club. Wait, I'm not even a member of this. I'm gonna sign up for this. I live in Oregon. Oregon Rafting, and is this like a secret club? Oh, I am a member.
Is it active?
Let's find out. Here, I'll put it up.
Zach, you've got some cool lights in the background back there.
Yeah, I'm learning how to do YouTube. Wait, why is the first thing I see on Amazon? Here we go. Lots of sales stuff on this thing. Huh. This is a weird. Am I in the right one?
That's what it says.
Is it just a bunch of selling stuff? Anyway. So, Freshie, I'm learning how to be a YouTuber.
Okay, and lights help?
Yeah,
Yeah.
flashing lights.
Well,
making,
why is it flashing?
making adult videos?
Why is it flashing? No, I read an article, How to Be Better at YouTube.
Yeah.
Why is it flashing?
Make the lights flash.
So first of
Wow.
all, getting your lighting good is important. One, you have to have like that light back there. See that one?
Okay.
That one is just to give you some context. I don't know.
Okay.
That one's I have had that one for a while. And then just last week, I bought this one that gives me like a cool purpley color.
I'm
Not
using
sure.
the new camera you gave me.
Oh, nice.
Any better?
You look way better. Yeah. Of course,
How come I didn't get anything?
What do you want, Steve?
Maybe that old light you're not using anymore.
Which, like the one that I just bought that's broken?
Blinking one, yeah.
Maybe we'll get you one, Steve. We'll get you a little background light. That'd be fun.
Okay.
But I've read that having that light just makes it look cool. Doesn't it look cool when it's not blinking?
Yeah. I don't know why it's blinking though, huh?
I don't know why. This is the second time I've ever used it, but you noticed it, so it's working. Cool. Thanks, Mark. It's really, see, this is the beauty of answering questions this way, is that we have actual experts paying attention to.
Yeah.
All right, a few things. Tristan, yeah, have fun, Tristan. If you do the Illinois, tell us about it. We'd love to hear about it. If you do the Rogue, tell us about it too, but the Illinois is special.
And they're worth going down for sure. Coming down from British Columbia to the Rogue in December. Good idea. Worth it.
Is this frame, AJ, is this frame too narrow for a 14-foot Sotar with 9-foot oars, 60-inch? This is a lot of math, AJ. Wait, how wide is the 14-inch Sotar? 14-foot Sotar. Steve, what size oar do you normally use on a 14-foot boat? Just on average. Like an Avon Adventure with a frame, what oar would you throw out there?
9.5. And
I think that's how your math would work out too. Well,
wait, Steve, when I worked for you, you never had 9.5-foot oars.
I know. And I struggle with that. If I had to choose between 9s and 10s, I would start getting a little more particular about the weight of the oars? Like, are they the big, beefy, 10-foot, whatever those Sawyer things are called, smokers, or are they lighter weight, 10-foot oars? Yeah. But 9.5 if we had, and we do have some now. And I've cut a lot of handles down.
Really?
Like, the handles they used on those wooden oars used to be like 6 inches long. You can cut 3 inches off the end of the handles. I think that's a really good way to adjust oar length. Yeah.
So this is AJ's boat, his frame. AJ, I'd get a different frame. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to get you down the Deschutes. But I don't think I would want to run this down the Illinois. It's a cataract frame.
It is a cataract frame, isn't it?
I think so. I think it's for a cataract frame. It's a little narrow, and those oar towers are really high. So I would sell it and buy a kayak. That's probably what I would do. It depends what you're using it for, AJ.
That's a cool seat.
The what?
It's a cool seat. It is low. If that mesh thing is the seat.
Is that a seat or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the seat.
Yeah.
The seat.
Oh, that's trippy. I mean, I think you have two options here, AJ. As I think about this, one, hold on, I'm going to somewhere else. One, sell that frame, or you might have to give it away. I'm not sure I'm going to buy that frame. Sell that frame and buy this frame, and then the rest of the Longhorn frame. They're pretty, I mean, $600, but they're simple. They're great. They're light. Or sell the raft and buy some cat tubes that go with that frame. But I feel like that frame is not a good match for that boat. I'm being too harsh.
The frame again, Zach?
The what?
Let me show the picture of the frame again.
Of his frame?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to get rid of this. Hold on. It takes me a second to get it here. Stop screen, present. It's vertical, so it can't get that big on the screen. It's weird.
The oar towers are high for the seat height for sure.
Yeah. I think I'd go.
But it might work. It might do the trick for one run down the chutes. Is that what
It's going to work for the Rogue. It's going to work for, I don't know, class 2, 3. But it's as you get into more difficult things, I think it's going to be kind of weird. It's not going to work well. But yeah. Just picked it for pretty much free. Yeah, you get what you pay for on that one.
How about the floor deck being rigid, not hanging?
The floor deck. What are you talking about, Doug?
It looks like there's a deck for your feet.
That piece of wood down there?
Yeah.
I think that's just a piece of wood to protect I'm guessing to protect the floor from those cat tube bars.
Okay.
If it's for the raft, oh man, I'd sell it to somebody else for more than you bought it for and take a profit and go gamble it. I don't think I'd use it.
Would a cat frame have that attached ever? The floor deck like that? It could, right? I mean, usually they use bars, but
say that again, Doug.
Would a cat frame ever have a solid floor like that attached?
I think that piece of wood down there is just
sitting there.
Separate.
Okay.
I think he put that piece of wood down there to protect the floor from those bars. I don't think that has to do with the cat.
I mean,
but
he doesn't have anything to push on though either, so it might be the foot.
For his feet to push on.
Yeah, when you're rowing.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
My guess is this is a custom one-off frame.
This wasn't added. The floor is attached to the frame.
The floor is attached. Oh, interesting. Huh.
So it must be the floor deck, basically.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Huh.
Yeah. Is that a problem for it to be rigid like that in terms of smashing the floor of the boat to a rock? I guess it's not a big deal, but
yeah, if the floor got flat and a rock, you went over a rock, it would hit that and maybe put a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody wants to buy this frame, contact AJ. So AJ can afford a better frame.
I agree.
All right, we have one more question. David. Let me put it on here. I switched from a dry suit that zips across the shoulders in the back to one that zips in the front of the shoulder. I hate it. So do you guys like the zip across the back dry suits or the zip across the front dry suits?
I don't have a dry suit, but if I was to buy one, I seriously thought about buying the 2-piece Kokatat one, which doesn't have a zipper. It has a zipper around the middle. But if I were going to buy one that had one in the front or the back, I'd choose the front.
Why?
It's easier to get to, seems to me. But I don't know enough. I don't know enough about dry suits to answer. I would want to know why David hated the one that
me too.
in the front.
Dougie, what do you prefer?
I've only had across the chest, and it's been great for me. I haven't had any complaints. Definitely, when people have it across the back, it seems comfortable. And sea kayaking, people could say you can sit in your tent and put it on easily while you're sitting there. But you also need somebody to open it up when you're done.
Yeah, I have both. The one across the front, it bunches up a little bit. It's like kind of a weird, but you can get it off and on easy. The one in the back, I can get it off by myself because I have that flexibility. But most of my friends walk up to me and just do this. Like this is like they just walk up and like put their arms out to put it on and get it off, which I always thought is weird that you need a friend to get it off and on. And so, but you can do that. It just depends. You know, if you can't get it up by yourself, that might be a safety concern.
David wrote back. He said, you could post what he said.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, for kayaking too. It's a little weird for kayaking sometimes.
I haven't had an issue with it yet, but yeah.
I have both. I like both. I slightly prefer the one across the back. And that's because I can zip and unzip on myself. If I couldn't zip the back by myself, I probably wouldn't get those. And David can. Well, why not go back to the zip across the back one, David? Trade AJ your dry suit for his frame. This could solve all of our problems.
Steve, have you ever owned a dry suit?
Yeah, I've owned a dry suit that zipped in the front a long time ago, and it was fine. I didn't have any problems with it. What are your thoughts about the 2-part ones that zip around the middle?
Our friend Jess has 3 of those, actually. She loves it.
Just 3 of them?
I think 2 or 3. Yeah.
Wow.
She loves it. It seems to me like they'd be too bunchy around your waist. And then there's the knob that you attach it with.
Right.
It's like sizable. I couldn't imagine trying it, but she likes it. Yeah.
I've heard bad things about them.
They don't make it anymore, do they? Do they?
I think they do. I was on a Middle Fork trip a few years ago with a guy who hated it so much. He wanted me to do a Gear Garage video about it. And I said, I'm not going to do that. He's like, well, tape me then. So I videoed him complaining about it for like 10 minutes. Just search Google, YouTube for it. There's a Gear Garage video of a friend of mine complaining about how much it sucks and how Kokatat needs to stop making it.
All right.
That's all I know about it.
I'll look for it. Thank you.
I think he's referring to my trade idea, which I think is brilliant.
I remember when that dry suit came out, though. It seemed like a great idea for lots of reasons.
I mean, the only advantage I think of it is that you have a dry top as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's the bibs in the dry top is a decent option too.
But the zipper thing actually stays on. The bib things can get wet. The zipper thing, it's actually a dry suit.
Yeah.
Where the bib things, you have to do this whole rolling thing, and they're not that great.
Yeah.
They're not that great from a waterproof safety standpoint.
The roll,
they leak.
Somehow it gets water in there. I don't know how, because it seems like it should be pretty
good. You used to have one of those, right?
I had a pair of bibs for sea kayaking. I rarely use them whitewater though. I did try them sea kayaking and they worked fine. They work great for sea kayaking for lots of reasons. As far as being a dry suit, I only use them a couple times, like with a dry top connected. But
the advantage I saw in the 2-part Kokatat one with my friends who had them was in the morning, loading rafts,
Oh yeah.
had the bottoms on, in and out of the water, loading the boat, not getting hot, not overheating, and then putting
Yeah.
the top on when they left. Or the opposite of that, if you was just got cold in the middle of the day, you have a dry top.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to carry an extra dry top.
Yeah.
You've got one thing that does a lot of things. I don't know if it does it well enough. Is it worth it?
So did they like it, Steve?
They did at the time. I haven't checked with them lately. This was 2 years ago, and it was like they had just gotten them and they'd used them a fair amount, and they seemed to like them. And it seemed like this video, they worked really well for what they were doing at the time. And I always thought it was a good, versatile solution. And I haven't heard that many people say bad things about them. So I'll watch that video.
I've heard quite a few people say bad things about them. I thought
Okay.
Jess didn't like them, Dougie. I didn't realize she liked them and has 3 of them.
I think she likes them. We'll have to ask her. I mean, she got deals on used on some of them, so she kept picking them up. But yeah, I'm not sure.
I wonder why she got deals for them.
Well, she got them used, and she found
Yeah.
them for, and she, you know, she was a fan of having multiple ones in case one's in repair or something like that.
Yeah. Steve, there's a question for you. What do you use if you don't use a dry suit?
Well, I don't go cold season boating that much. I'll admit to that. I've worn a wetsuit with rain gear over it, and that seems to be a good solution. I get really hot in a dry suit too. Like, it gets uncomfortable pretty quickly. Like, I have to vent a lot when I have worn them.
I think wetsuits are underrated. I think people wear dry suits when wetsuits are totally appropriate or maybe even better. Like, I did a couple spring trips this year where I wore a wetsuit and the rest of the guides wore dry suits. And then some of the days the guides it was warm and they wanted to wear nothing. Like just shorts and a t-shirt when that wasn't appropriate, or shorts and like his jacket. But I'm like, guys, if you swim, like you can't, I think a wetsuit's good for especially those medium temperature trips. Maybe not so good when it's like -10 out, but I think I like wetsuits a lot.
With the rain pants over the top, makes them super warm too.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve, here's the debate.
Paddling jacket over that. I mean, plus I think you have a little bit better mobility. I think you have a little more like dry
abrasion resistance.
You're a lot more flotation. Tons more flotation.
Tons more flotation. Maybe
I mean, the dry suit can have flotation too, because sometimes there's air in there, so it's depends. But I was guiding a trip, a June 16th middle four trip this year, Steve. It was 6.5 feet, and I wore a wetsuit, and most of the other guys wore dry suits, and some of them were giving me a hard time. They're like, "You should really be wearing a dry suit," because they said you may need to go in the water to perform a rescue for some amount of time. What do you think about that?
And I think you're probably better off in a dry suit if you have to do that. It's all situational. The situations I'm putting myself in are limited because I don't have a dry suit. So I'm thinking about getting one, which is why, and then it's why it's maybe the whatever they call that switch zip technology that Coconut had is sort of the intermediary between a full dry suit and committing to that whole thing versus solving my dry top problem and my wader problem with one thing. So yeah, that's my thing. I'm not going to get rid of the wetsuit and the rain pants. I mean, I think it's a continuum, right? Like, there's days when you only need the rain pants. There's days when you need the wetsuit. You only need the wetsuit. There's days when you need the wetsuit and the rain pants. And there's days when you would need, or there's situations where you would want the full dry suit, where you think, okay, I might have to be in the water for an extended period of time. I don't want to disagree with that preparation and that philosophy, but I don't know realistically how often that occurs, that you need to be in the water for that amount of time
to perform a rescue.
to perform a rescue, especially given that there are going to be other people involved, that anybody's going to get cold after a certain amount of time, whether you're in a dry
You
suit
could like take turns going to the water if you had to.
or a wetsuit. I think those situations would progress to where if I couldn't do it in my wetsuit and my rain pants, or if I was getting too cold in my wetsuit, yeah, I would switch out. I don't know that you wouldn't get cold in your dry suit almost as quickly, right? Like, I don't know that are they that much better? They're more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, for standing in the water, yeah, they're better. My counter was, what if you're doing a rescue and you don't need to go in the water? What if it's like 80 degrees out and you're pulling ropes and you're doing things and you're sweating to death in your dry suit? You're gonna then want to take it off, right? I think that sometimes the dry suit's too much. So it was a debate that we had. I didn't have an answer for them then, but they were annoyed that I wasn't wearing a dry suit.
Yeah.
Steve, I picture you like 28 years old before I met you.
That's when I had my dry suit.
Guiding an Illinois trip. It's snowing. You had a dry suit then?
Wetsuit and paddling jacket.
I just think of all the people back in the day. There's decades of guiding before dry suits existed, where people were guiding trips in the snow with, wetsuits with the holes in them, probably. Right?
Yeah, that's not saying that it was better. We did it. I remember the first time I saw a dry suit was on the North Fork of the American. We were all in wetsuits. One person, Bill Center, was in a dry suit. We got to take out. He took off his dry suit and he was wearing a pair of pants and a regular shirt. And I was like, wow. And it was dry and he was warm. And I was like, man, that's when I went out and bought a dry suit. And then I had it for 10 years and wore it 3 times maybe in 10 years. Like, I just didn't have that many situations where I needed it. The wetsuit always seemed to work. I do think, though, that a good dry top or a really bomber paddling jacket, absolutely essential. Every trip, Tuolumne in August, I'm taking that on the trip. I think that's the best, one of the best safety, life-saving devices that I carry. Like,
I agree, and one that looks cool.
Well,
it's such a cool look when you have like a cool looking paddle jacket and a PFD on top.
Yeah,
like it's just a cool look. Getting the colors right, maybe like a light red so you're visible. God.
I go with the blues, but okay.
So here, let me see. Wait, hold on, I gotta find this. Mark is talking about let me go back to this page, the NRS neoprene pants. And so I think I'm not a fan of these. Well, I'm a fan kind of, but I had some guys wear these, the Hydro Skins. Have you guys ever worn these?
Yeah, I have a pair of those. I like them a lot for certain things. They also have the rodeo pant, which is thicker. It's more like wetsuit material.
I think the problem with these is they're like 1.5 mil. And
it's
if
not
it's cold,
a replacement for a warm wetsuit.
Yes, it is a very in-betweener thing.
Yeah.
They make like 3-4 wetsuits and 4-5 wetsuits and 2-3 wetsuits.
Does that have to do with like how much of the body it covers?
Yeah. No, it has to do with the thickness of the neoprene in the arms and the legs versus the torso.
Yeah.
They could make a Hydroskin 1.5, 2.5. There was maybe 2.5 around the important parts and then 1.5 in the legs. That would be really good. I have a shorty wetsuit that I wear more than any other thing. Like, that's the most, I find that really practical.
But it's 3 mil shorty wetsuit.
Yeah. If this was 3 mil on the top and 1.5 on the bottom, I think that'd be a pretty cool thing.
Zach, on the road trip this summer when my sister came, I gave her these pants. So when she was in the kayak, they were amazing.
Yeah.
Keeping her warm. Yeah.
I think that what I had guides. So like I was wearing a wetsuit. This is Middle Fork. This is like both Illinois trips on the Illinois in the spring and this Middle Fork trip we did in June. That was high water and a little chilly. Some people wore dry suits. I was the only one that just wore a wetsuit. and I had some guys wanting to wear these pants, and these aren't even the same league as a real wetsuit or a dry suit. This is an accessory. This is like Rogue in the summer, you're getting splashed in your ducky.
Right.
So this is not the same. So I mean, what's Mark saying is I got these pants. They're sweet and they're comfortable for sure, but they're only for like not super cold water / weather.
Look up the rodeo pant. I'm looking up too.
The NRS, is it NRS rodeo pant?
Yeah, I think
And
that.
then what Mark is doing is adding the neoprene shorts on top of those. So he's making his own custom
Right.
3.0, 1.5,
Yeah.
whatever combination, which is I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Or to combine those 1.5 pants with a shorty wetsuit. I think that
Okay, I don't see them there. You're right. Maybe they used to have the rodeo shorts. I thought they had a pair of pants too. And the rodeo shorts were like more like 2 or 3 mil.
Just go old school, the thick. Yeah, I'm in that.
they have a 0.5 pant.
Yeah, that's for who knows what.
Sun
It's like
protection.
long underwear.
Yeah, basically long underwear. A premium nylon spandex exterior sheds water and provides optimal stretch. Huh. But I mean, Stephanie's on, she gets it. Like Steve, we are so close to getting sponsored by NRS. Like we're right there.
Maybe I can get a dry suit.
Maybe, yeah. NRS.
Tell them I'll field test it. I'll do a road trip with our friend from British Columbia in December.
Yep.
And my brand new, I'll take all different kinds of dry suits and wear a different one each day.
Different NRS one or all the different types?
Whatever they want to give me.
Yeah. Well, I think, we've been really pushing NRS hard that they should sponsor us, and Stephanie gets it. Like, look right now. We're like having their website up. We are so close. And I think we say one more nice thing and they might send you like 5 dry suits, Steve.
Okay.
This summer I started open water swimming, and I wore my rodeo shorts to keep my legs afloat better and like swimming across Columbia.
Oh, so you
It
cheated.
worked well.
Is that
Those are
cheating?
illegal in competition, though. I'm sure.
Yeah, I wasn't
Dougie.
racing.
Can't compete in those.
But they were helpful, and they kept me a little warmer. So
Dougie, did you win? Did you win, Doug?
Did I win?
Yeah.
I did for my age group and my size and my looks.
And your wetsuit category? Your 1.5 category?
Yeah.
Rodeo.
Yeah, I agree.
The rodeo division.
If NRS made these pants into 3 mil, that would be I'd buy them a lot. I have a few pair. I wear them all the time, and I promote them. And not only that, but it would be a service to the boating community.
Yes, I agree.
Because I think the more people would wear them, and they'd be safer in them.
And I think the hybrid thing is something to
3 on top, 2 on bottom.
Yep.
3, 1.5 or something.
3, 1.5. Yeah.
One of the big problems with the Farmer John's is going to the bathroom. So with the pants, at least you could go to the bathroom.
Number 1 or number 2?
Both, either one. But sometimes people don't drink water as much because they worry about having to pee, and then you've got dehydrated people. Yeah.
Or they don't want to wear their wetsuit because the legs are 3.0.
Yeah.
Oh, also because it's so hard to put on. You're like pulling. If the thighs were 3 and then the legs were 1.5, they're just easier to put on. Like, it's an easy thing to put on and put off. Take off. Yeah.
Yeah. Zach pants, we'll call them.
Steve, you just came up with the idea. They should be called Welchies.
There's already a Welchie.
NRS Welchies.
Name.
Wait, isn't the Welchie the thing that you put the dishes in between the tables, or is that what it is?
Yeah, we could do a whole show on that.
Does
NRS of the Welchie?
Wait, does NRS make Welchies?
No,
I bet they do. I think they call them dish hammock.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Wait, how is it a Welchie different than a dish hammock?
Oh, do you want to do a whole segment? There are disadvantages. The Welchies are being there's some shade being thrown on the Welchies because they require 2 tables.
Oh, come on.
Dish hammock can hang off of 1 table. That's
The Welchies. Steve, do you know that I made some Welchies? You saw my Welchies, right?
I think I did.
On the trip, I took your design and had somebody here in Hood River make some Welchies.
Oh yeah. But you hang them under the table.
No. They're designed to hang between the tables. Our guides have decided to hang them under the table.
Yeah, I used that one that you hang under the table and wasn't impressed.
Oh,
But
good. Thanks.
I liked the concept, but I wasn't going to touch it and move it. I wasn't going to mess with anything on the
I spend a
first day
lot
on
of
the
time.
job. I was going to tell them, hey, that's not how that was designed to be used. Let me show you. I would have.
I tell them that all the time. When I show up, I'm like, hey guys, I have to convince them the how what's the word? I have to convince them how important the Power L is. Like once you know how to do the Power L kitchen, you can do them in between. But they believe in like the W's and the U's and the
But I spent a lot of time in U kitchens.
or like a not
So-
power, just a regular L, not a Power L. But
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time fighting for the Power L. Yeah, we should get some photos of the Welchie and do a whole episode about him. I'm a big fan, but also I think the shorts could also be Welchies too, because there can be like a kitchen item Welchie and a piece of clothing Welchie.
We'll come up with a different name for the pants.
All right.
And that would be fun.
Yeah, NRS is the bestest. They make the best gear if you don't have money. Is that the right way to say it?
Mark called them the Igniter pants.
The ones you wanted? Igniter pants. Igniter pants. These ones.
There you go.
What are these? Basic immersion
2 mil.
protections. Oh, they're earth conscious. Dougie.
They're
2
2
mil.
mil.
That's closer.
Yeah.
And they're dope dyed. It's almost like Patagonia's making these. I have to check these out. These are cool. Igniter pants. And they're
what is it?
Pretty affordable.
The old NRS Farmer John, is that 3 mil? 3.2?
3 mil. I think 3 mil is the standard for what we should be wearing when it's cold.
Yeah.
I think they make different thicknesses on their Farmer Johns. I think you can get a 4, a 3, or maybe even a 2.
Really?
Yeah, I think they might.
So there's 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3.
Yeah, you're right.
2 and 3.
I don't think they go 4. I think 4 would be maybe too much. Yeah. All right. Let's get through our last few questions. And I bought a bunch of stuff from them because you bought stuff from NRS because we recommended them. Awesome, dude.
Quote that.
Yeah. Yep.
Send David the NRS email address and tell him to repost that.
Yep. David, that's astute. That's a very astute decision on your end. Good job. Number 1 helps you keep warm in a fog. I don't understand this. Number 1 helps you warm. Am I missing something here, guys?
Oh, going to the bathroom, peeing.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, thank you, Dougie. Do you guys pee in your wetsuits?
I try not to.
Really?
I don't.
Why?
It smells after a while.
It doesn't smell.
I sort of consider myself more civilized than that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, if I have to, I will, but
Whoa.
I mean, you jump in the water and do it. You don't just pee yourself sitting in the boat.
yeah, it sticks around for a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I will do it if I had to,
But Steve, absolutely not.
No, absolutely. I used to,
Especially
but
the fact that
I've outgrown that habit.
the guests ones. I mean, I just think back to those. That's just gross.
Well, you wash them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sawyer's got it right there.
Yeah.
3-2 full body.
Do you know? Hey, Dougie, do you know who Sawyer is?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
The last time I saw Sawyer, I saw him at his house in Truckee, and he was getting potty trained.
Don't say that, Dougie, on the air.
That was
I'm
that
sorry,
long ago.
Sawyer.
He was like 1, I guess, 1.5. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry about that, Sawyer.
No, it's neat.
Yeah, it's neat.
I've known him for a long time, his whole life.
Yep.
But
Well, almost his whole life.
that was the last time I saw him.
Yep. Kind of like me. I haven't seen him that long either, Dougie.
I know.
Steve, do you know Dougie lives in the same town that I do?
Right now?
Yeah, he moved to Hood River.
Wow.
But I don't ever see him.
Great.
Yeah. This is the first time I've seen him in 3 months. And it's online. He grew that beard since I saw him last.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think that's a show. I want to, since Aaron's not here, do you guys have anything to say before we close this down?
No, I'm looking forward to the Christmas show. I hope I get invited.
The Zoom show.
Really hope I get invited to the
Oh,
Zoom.
man. I mean,
The
that
Zoom
would be
Christmas show.
interesting.
That would be fun to do.
That would be fun.
Or it could be a disaster, but either way, it'd be fun to do.
Oh, talk about disaster. I was at the AO show last week, as you know.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It went well. It was a good show. And I'm like, I should do some Gear Garage content here because, there's lots of people here and opportunities. So I asked all the boat manufacturers, like, hey, if you do a 2-minute elevator pitch about your boats, I'll compile them all and make a video of it.
Did you do that? Are you going to make it?
It's done. It's already uploaded.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the most innovative piece of gear you saw? And it doesn't even have to be new. If it's still the most innovative thing out there, if nothing has out innovated the last thing that you saw, if it didn't have to be from this year, but what's the most cutting edge gear thing you've seen?
That light you got.
I mean, there really was nothing. There's
There really
nothing
was
at this. This is the first, usually we go and there's like, hey, that's really cool. That's really cool. Look at that new gear. It was just a lot of the same old. There's nothing innovative out there. I'll tell you, what comes to mind though when you ask that is, do you know that NRS makes cornhole sets?
No.
They make inflatable cornhole.
Oh, wow.
And so I bought one like 3 years ago and we brought it on a trip. And every time the bag hit the cornhole set, it just bounced off.
Yeah.
It was just very infuriating. So I saw somebody about to buy one at NRS. I go, hey, hold on. Let me sell you my used one. Don't buy this one. I really wasted money on this. And they asked why. And I go, well, because when you throw the bags on, they bounce off. So I did it and the bag didn't bounce off.
Oh.
The key is don't inflate them all the way.
Oh.
Ah.
Of course.
So I learned that those cornhole sets are cool, but leave them partially deflated. Then the bags actually stay on the board. That was one thing. Almost everything else innovative was reservation system related. In terms of rafting gear, I learned that air D-rings are they're not like patched on. They're put behind the raft material. So their air D-rings are really strong. But they've always been doing that. But that's about it. Nothing else.
You mean they're put behind?
So they make the boat and the D-ring, instead of patching it on, they put the D-ring behind the boat, and I think the D-ring pops through the fabric.
Okay.
And then it's sewn in because the outer layer of an air doesn't have to hold air.
Right.
So they can just do it at all the creative things they want to. It's not like a boat that has to hold air. They throw a patch on. So their D-rings are bomber.
So nothing new and innovative. Here's my follow-up question.
Yeah.
What do you wish? What problem needs a solution? Like, what's the number one thing you go to? I hope somebody has solved the problem of one size fits all helmets or dish hammocks or tables that are easy to open. What problem do you want me to solve this winter?
Gear wise for our trips?
Yeah. What do we need? What is the maybe that could be can that be the theme of a show?
New gear we need, like new.
How about an oar that is adjustable length?
Exactly. I would agree with that. Matter of fact, Dougie, when I was talking to Zach about oars, I was thinking about buying, because I have an 18-foot boat and a 14-foot boat now. I was thinking about buying one set of blades and then 2 sets of shafts.
Yeah.
To sort of be able to do both. And then earlier when we were talking today, and Zach, you said you can just cut the shaft down.
Oh, the shaft down, yeah. Yeah.
And then you'd have to re-drill the holes where the
handle goes.
Blade or the handle attach.
Yeah.
Could you make a foot-long handle extension?
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So that's
the blade extension.
Have you rode with those? And
we got these.
That wobble?
The reason I have these, we've had these in Idaho, was because a long time ago, our manager thought, let's buy oars that are really short for the deadheads, and then add these on once we're done with the deadhead for the regular run.
Good thought.
So they wiggle a little bit. They're not bad, but they do
Do
wiggle
you think
a little bit.
yours, if you had your own private set, would wiggle, or would you just keep fine tuning them and correcting them and get that? Can you get the wiggle out of there?
It's always going to wiggle a little bit. You're always going to need a little bit of wiggle. It's fine, probably, but you want them to not wiggle on the longer length. The longer length is where it matters. In the shorter, I wouldn't mind the wiggle in the shorter length. I'd mind it in the longer length, and that's where it has to wiggle.
Where does that extension fit? Between the blade
At the
and
end, yeah,
of
before the
oar?
blade. Yeah,
What's
you
that?
put this in where the blade goes and put the blade in here.
What if it was at the other end of the oar?
The handle end?
Yeah. Would
It'd
the
be
wiggle-
harder to do. I guess you'd have to the way the handles go into the ends, it wouldn't work as well. This is the way to do it. And Mark Rivers says his don't wiggle.
Oh.
I mean, it's an option. I would consider this. I mean, how much do you think this extension costs?
$80.
$40.
More than 40. I don't know, but let's say it costs some amount of money. The oar is not that much more. The full, just get extra shaft. I mean, you're already paying for so much of the stuff.
If you're
just
Zach, if you're teaching somebody how to row and you want to give them the option of trying different lengths, that's where it would come in.
I mean, we just have when we
you're
teach,
right.
we just have like a bunch of orders. Like take
That's
the
true.
10s, take the 9.5s. So when we don't, it's adding this on takes time. Like if I'm teaching somebody to row, hey, let's waste 15 minutes of your day swapping these things on, swapping them off, right? Where I can just say, hey, grab those different oars, not go out, then tinkering with this all day. So I'm not a big fan of these, but
Maybe there's
Mark likes them.
telescoping system you could come up with, but it wouldn't be very strong. It would have to be for just learning. Yeah.
But getting back to solving gear problems, man, I don't know. I have to think about that some more. Like what stuff, what could be better? I mean, dry boxes, solving the Arda Echo dry box. When those dry boxes are all gone or broken, how do we get to replace those dry boxes? A cooler. Remember we worked with Yeti to try to make a cooler that fits our frames?
Yeah.
They didn't do it. Well, fixing the frame, make the perfect size cooler for our 18-foot boats. I think that's a thing.
Rafting life jacket.
Oh, better guest PFDs. Extra
Yeah.
Sport stopped making PFDs, so now your choices are not awesome.
Yeah. I saw some of those this summer.
Yeah, rafting, better higher quality rafting PFDs. Oh, the other thing is guide PFDs, like a better, a not low float version, like something that isn't an Astral vest.
I was looking to get a new life jacket
Mhm.
this summer, and I wanted to get not a low float one, either a high float or the medium ones they make. Really hard to find. They stopped making. I had to buy one on some closeout site, the NRS Big Water.
This is so on that topic though. NRS just redesigned the Big Water. This is it. And this is actually a topic for the Friday show because Aaron and I talk about PFD so much. One of the problems with the Big Water is that it's kind of dorky looking. This is slightly less dorky looking.
Yeah.
And so it's still a little dorky looking, but I think this is an amazing PFD. But I would rather, it could be better. Like the pockets are kind of weird.
Wonder how that would fit over my dry suit that I'm going to get from NRS.
You're going to get this massive NRS care package. This has basically been an NRS show. If they don't sponsor us or you specifically. Yeah, I think I'm going to buy one.
The NRS Big Water that I bought, because these were out of stock or they were redesigning it and they didn't have them in yet, doesn't look anything like this. And this looks a little more guide-ish. The Big Water one I have looks pretty utilitarian livery style. It's pretty plain.
Yeah, these new ones are cool. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of NRS, even though we want them as a sponsor. Like having the NRS logo on something I wear every day, I wish they'd take the logo off. I mean, I'd probably wear it more. I bet I could take it off.
Yeah.
I just if it was an Astro logo that's cool looking, I'd be like, yeah, cool. But that
They
logo is
just changed their logo.
yeah, something like that. David Gilbert. Yeah, exactly. Maybe, and this one actually is pretty sweet. It's 22 pounds. Let's see, it's 20,
Yep.
right? 22.9 pounds. And so Aaron's been calling this a medium flow PFD because it's
Right.
not like high flow would be like 28, 29 pounds, but it's better than my 16 pound, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think if somebody came out with like a really cool guide PFD that was really well thought out for guides, like this is pretty good actually. This is a pretty cool PFD, but like really like talk to good guides and got feedback on the stuff you needed. Like those little rings they hang. What are those for? Like those are those like little nipple rings? I don't know why those are there. Like
Maybe
they're just
That's interesting. What would you? I've never seen anything. You wouldn't want to hang anything from those.
what they're for. What they're thinking is that if you have one of those cowtail things from the back, you know when you wear the safety vest harness thing, and then the cowtail comes up for like rescuing other kayak. You know the cowtail I'm talking about, guys?
Yeah,
I
think
think
it's called
those
a
are
cowtail.
a toe line.
toe
Kayak line.
tether.
Toe tether.
It's something that guides shouldn't be wearing, in my opinion, but for whatever reason, I think NRS thinks they should. I think those rings have splits in them, so that tether can clip in there and come off really easy. That's my guess.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Or wait, David saying they're for fly fishing tools on little strings.
Yeah, we don't need those.
Yeah, I mean they're basically nipple rings. But I'm gonna get one of these PFDs. And the other thing is they make them in cool colors now. Look at these colors.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go with black.
black. That looks good.
Yeah, although I should get orange because it's safer. People can see me when I swim. But I think PFDs, like really good guest PFDs, like a super sexy guide PFD could be cool. But I think the industry is making generally good stuff right now. Yeah. Do you have any ideas, Steve? Are you looking for a project?
I'm always looking for projects. Yeah, if there was some fun little, I like thinking about that stuff when I'm on long drives. Like the rowing frame that I have yet to build has a lot of different. In addition to making my oars adjustable, is there a way to make my frame width adjustable?
Telescoping frame width.
Or just that the crossbars, you'd have two sets of crossbars, but one set
Yeah.
of side rails.
I mean, NRS already does that. This frame, the Longhorn frame, you just get different.
Right.
You just get different crossbars, and you can go wider.
And that's an option, but I think that the NRS Longhorn raft frame is the private boater version of the Big Water Astral dilemma.
Oh, you want something cooler than NRS?
I want something a little bit. I really like those Longhorn frames, and you've got them on your rowing school boats, and they're incredibly adjustable and they're really versatile.
They're light. They're simple.
They're light, but I think I'm building something that's for what I know what I'm going to use it for, so I don't need that versatility. I can sort of lock in some of those decisions and make it a little less.
Do you want a steel one, Steve?
What's that?
Do you want a steel frame? I mean, is that a priority for strength or?
No, I don't. I've seen the aluminum ones that have all the fittings and would do exactly what I want to do and just get different length straight pieces of aluminum. That seems like maybe the direction. I think I want the same flat design that the Arta Echo gear frames are, like drop pieces into it. Yeah, so just things to think about as I'm driving around, like new oar locks.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, new oar locks. I think.
Do you think there could be an innovation on the way
there has been? Oh, hold on, I'll get. You don't watch the show enough, do you, Steve? So hold on, I'll get that.
They would allow me to have oar locks, but not have the oar handles slide in.
Oh, that's already been done.
Do what, Steve? What was it?
Oh, you get like it's already been done. There's a little bungee you can put over it. So like bungees. I have some right here.
That would be.
Let me see if I have one of these.
Dougie, my fear, the reason one of my things I don't like about oar locks is that when I fall out of the boat, I don't fall out of the boat if I'm using pins and clips because I
Right.
sort of hold myself in
Yeah.
using those. But with an oar lock, I
Right.
haven't learned to not be dependent on pulling on that oar handle.
So Mad Catter makes these. I think he's done making stuff. I don't know if you can see what's in this bag. I don't want to pull it out. But this is like a short bungee that you put over your oar. And so the further the oar goes, the more it pulls it back into place.
I can still spin my oars.
You can kind of, not as much. I don't know. I've only ever seen these used with what are those called? So this is what it is. It's just a short bungee. This makes, I want to focus, but you see how it works, right? This end right here duct tapes onto the oar, and this clips onto the oar tower. And so as the oar goes further out, it pulls it back in. And so I've only seen this used with oar rights before, but it would probably work with spinnies. I can't see why it wouldn't work with spinnies.
Well, you wouldn't be able to spin it 360 degrees.
But do you need to? Are you spinning your oars 360?
When I'm showing off, yeah. when I'm rowing for show.
You're like, you're like in the middle of Blossom, you're doing your whole spinny lifestyle, bringing them in, pulling them out, go insy outy, and then mid rapid, you're like,
usually not mid rapid. I usually wait till I get to the bottom of the rapid and then do it. I've got a whole routine I go through. I thought everyone did. I thought that was part of it.
No.
Well, I'll have to check out the Mad Catters.
But I think Mad Catter stopped making stuff.
Oh.
So
Okay.
this could be your chance to steal his design and put a Welchie tag on it.
I'll have to come to your gear garage and borrow those.
Yeah, you can make some and just call them Welchie Industries. But this is Mark. What about a second donut?
Huh.
It's thoughtful. It's an interesting idea.
It has to be on the ropes, though, right?
Have to be on the ropes, probably. Yeah,
because it would. I think it's too big of a diameter.
If you had a second donut, it'd be hard to put the oar in.
You wouldn't be able to get the oar on. Yeah, that'd be
right.
You could put it on. Maybe there's like some claspy thing with a magnet.
Magnets. Yeah,
could
be
doing
a lot of magnet work.
Yeah, I think we need to have an innovation show where we talk about innovation and new things. But the trade show was good. A lot of the same people. I had a conversation with a mutual friend who said it's just not the same without Steve here. And it was right. I miss walking around with you and just sharing ideas and coming up with concepts. And yeah, it wasn't the same without you last week.
All right, we'll do a virtual.
And your talk the year before was brought up several times.
Oh, good.
And multiple people lamented and how they cried during your talk. It was definitely a highlight. We talked about it quite a bit, and we got to figure out how to get you to do part 2 next year, which is this is probably a better offline talk. But
yeah, we'll work on that offline.
Yeah.
Where is it going to be next year?
Phoenix.
Wow.
So easy. It's easy. Is that very far away from your new home?
It's further away than Sonora.
Yeah.
From Sonora, but yeah, that'd be fun to do. But let's work on an innovation show and a Christmas show.
Okay. David's going to work on the Christmas show. David, you're in charge of Christmas show. I'll work on an innovation show. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna close this one down. You guys ready to finish this one up? Any final thoughts, Dougie?
No, that's a great show.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. We do this Q&A show every Tuesday at 2:00, almost every Tuesday. We do our regular Aaron and Zach Mediocre show on Fridays at 2:00. Please subscribe, like, become a member, do all the things, ring the bell. We appreciate everybody's support, and we'll see you in the next episode. Dougie, I have one more thing to ask you about.
Okay. Good to see you.